I would like to extend a warm welcome to all members of the HR committee, officers, members of the public and press in attendance at today's meeting, 11th of June 2026. Welcome to those who may be watching the meeting live on YouTube. I am Councillor Jill Cleary, Chairman of the HR Committee. I would now like to hand over to Democratic Services to read the housekeeping note.
Thank you, Chairman. Please note that this meeting is being broadcast live on the Council's website and on YouTube. It will remain available for a minimum of 12 months. I would remind those in attendance to use your microphone when speaking and remember to switch it off once you finish speaking. Please switch any mobile devices to a silent setting for the duration of the meeting. If the fire alarm rings during the meeting, please can everyone leave the room immediately and use the nearest fire exit. Do not use the lift. Please go to the fire assembly point, which is located at the bottom of the car park by the garages.
Thank you. For the benefit of those watching the meeting online, please would members introduce themselves during the meeting, if not already introduced by name. For apologies, I have Councillor Mark Clark. Item 1. To approve the minutes of the meeting held on the 12th of March and 18th of May 2026. Do you agree?
Agreed.
Item 2, declarations of interest. Do any members, have you got any interest to declare? None. Public participation? None. Item 4, HR update, pages 5 to 32. We are now going to go to Helena Aylett, Service Manager, Human Resources. Helena.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. This is the regular HR update report that I bring to you. I'll just pick out a few highlights in the report. I'm safe to go all through it. So level of recruitment remains quite high. So we had 39 live recruitment campaigns in the last 3 months. We've been busy with graduates. So we had the Impact LGA Graduate Day up in London in April. And we're also continuing to support the Pathways to Planning graduate scheme as well. We had the Learning at Work Week, which was really good actually, and it did allow us to showcase a number of things that we put on for our staff. We've launched the coaching pilot. That's gone down really well. We launched that actually in March, but it's really starting to pick up now and gather a bit of momentum. So we've got 3 colleagues that are doing professional level training in coaching so that they can support other colleagues across the council. We're continuing with our employee networks. We're starting to have a few more set up, like an early careers network, and a women's network and a neurodiversity network. We are continuing with the EDI group. That's been running for a little while now, but it's really successful, and people really enjoy being a part of that group. We are continuing to support our operational depots. We go out once a month to all 3 depots, and we have a member of the HR advisory team, the recruitment admin team, and also the learning team. They all go out so that they can talk to the guys when they're there about any particular issues. So if they don't understand their pay slip, for example, there's a member of payroll that can help them. If they don't understand how iTrent works, they can actually show the system to them. And they're really well received at the depots, and I think everybody out there is really pleased that we make that support available. We've done quite a lot of support to the waste rollout. You will know that phase 3 at Hardley Depot is now out, so I'm really pleased to say that some members of my team had nice early starts to go out and support the team, make sure they were there before they went out in the morning. That included members of the health and safety team as well. Went out, did some spot checks on the rounds to make sure that there were safe working practices occurring. And again, I think that was really well received by everybody. That leads me to my favourite part of this report, which is the HR service review. I'm really pleased to put this in front of members today. You may recall we did this last year for the first time, and the reason we did it is because in the previous staff survey, some of the comments that I received back from my own team were that because the services and what they do is so often done almost discreetly, and I don't want to say secretly, but discreetly and quietly, and they're not a public-facing service, what they do is often not seen unless they are particularly involved with that one manager or that one employee. So what we did last year for the first time was pull together the HR service review, and I've attached it as Appendix 1 there, you can see it, and it just highlights all the really good work that the team do throughout the year in each of the 4 sections that I look after. So if you haven't had a chance to look at it, I would encourage you to do it, because there's some really great figures and statistics in there about what the team do, and I'm really proud of what they do. But if anybody's got any questions on any of that, I'm more than happy to answer them.
Thank you, Helena. Jeremy, you are the portfolio holder. Do you have any comments to add?
No, I don't think I do, thank you.
Okay.
Can I say something?
Councillor Steve Davis.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I'd like to say this is a great report. Thank you. It looks good and it reads well, so thank you very much for that. I know somebody did a lot of hard work on that. I'm also very gratified with regards to the recruitment section, Section 3, that we are still a very attractive employer, and I think that's credit to the whole organisation. Thank you.
Would any members of the floor wish to comment? No? Can I then take you, please, to the recommendation to note on page 5? Agreed?
Agreed.
Thank you. Can I take you now to agenda item 5, annual review of market supplement payments. Jade Carter is going to walk us through this, who is our payroll manager. Jade.
Morning, everyone. This is just our annual review of market supplement payments. It's a factual report, and this one looks at the review we conducted for April 2026. So the reason we do it is that our current market supplement policy states that payments are intended as a short-term solution and should be reviewed annually. So this is actually our 3rd year of doing this now. So what we do is in around February each year, we identify anyone who has a market supplement payment, and then we approach their line manager and ask them to make a recommendation as to whether the payment should stop, be amended or continue. Once they've made their recommendations, it moves to their service manager to approve, and then it goes to the strategic director for final approval. So as of the 1st of March 2026, there were 86 employees in receipt of a market supplement. So 64 of those were covered under the market supplement for drivers and were considered as a group for purposes of the annual review. 2 of those were not covered under review as they were not in receipt of ongoing payments, they just had a one-off payment, and the remaining 20 were subject to the review process mentioned previously. So following the review, there have been no changes made to the existing arrangements and all market supplements have continued. Point 13 shows comparative data, and that shows consistency in market supplement payments between 2025 and 2026. The main change would be the increase in the number of market supplement payments awarded to Band 4 employees within the Places, Operations and Sustainability Service area, and this reflects a rise in staff numbers associated with the introduction of the new waste collection service. So in response to this review, EMT have requested that a thorough review of all market supplements is undertaken this year, so that will include reviewing how long each one has been in place and ensuring that there is sufficient evidence to justify the continuation of the payments. EMT also requested that in future years, the table in point 13 will also provide the date from which the market supplement had been in place from. So the cost of market supplements paid across the council over the 25-26 tax year was £126,674.52. and that includes on costs, so employers, national insurance and pension. So in summary, the review resulted in no changes to the current market supplement payments, but did highlight a need for a more in-depth review to be undertaken this year. Happy to take any questions if there are any.
Thank you, Jade. I love the 52p. Can I firstly go to Councillor Jeremy Heron? This is under your portfolio.
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, I mean, this an excellent report detailing everything that needs to be known, to be quite honest, but I will just add that it is an important tool that we have within the scheme to provide these market supplements, because they address the anomalies within the labour force and ensure that we don't have issues recruiting or retaining staff when particular areas are difficult for posts to fill. But it is also very important that we regularly review them and make sure that they are applied correctly, because what we don't want to do is to use them where they're not necessary, because that conversely impacts on our staff, our other staff who are doing their job fairly. So it is a very important tool to be used sparingly. I say that when I look at the figure of the cost attached to the cost, sparingly, but very essential in order to deliver it, and the annual review is obviously very well worked. Thank you.
Councillor Alan O'Sullivan.
Thank you. Obviously, there's quite a lot for the waste supply members as such. What about, so you're paying supplements to get the extra ones. What about the existing members?
They all get the same.
They all get the
Yeah,
same.
they
So
all
we're
get
dry,
the same.
dry the supplement.
Yeah.
If we don't only do it for 4 of them.
I could just
Yeah,
imagine the one next to.
No, they're all, anyone new and existing have the market supplement. Yeah.
And the details, that's great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Fine. Can I take you to the recommendation again to note on page 33? Agreed?
Agreed.
Thank you. Item 6, probation policy. And again, it's a recommendation to note. We're going to pass over to Sophie Taylor, Senior HR Advisor. Sophie.
Good morning, thank you. Yes, so this report sets out proposed updates to our probation policy, and this is because there is upcoming legislation changes under the Employment Rights Act. Those changes mean that from January 2027, the qualifying period for unfair dismissal will reduce from 2 years to 6 months, meaning that it's prudent for organisations such as us to manage probation periods more robustly, perhaps from the outset. And this updated policy just intends to introduce a clearer and even more structured approach to managing new employees during their first 6 months, to make sure that we're fairly and consistently supporting all our new employees when they join us. The changes that are set out are fairly minimal, as we already do have a really supportive and robust approach to supporting new colleagues when they join us through their first 6 months of probation. And we've kept in the new process, or the updated process, 2 reviews. Those are intended to happen at 12 and 20 weeks, but we do have flexibility to bring those reviews forward and have more reviews as needed, depending on that colleague and how they're getting on when they start with us. So the policy just sets out an increased focus on the need for managers to have regular check-ins, which they should be doing anyway, between colleagues and new managers. And we've broadened the assessment criteria to cover performance, conduct and our behaviours commitment as well, to make sure that our new colleagues are, like I say, performing across the whole breadth of how we'd expect, and that we've got the support in place to enable them to do that. And we have also removed the routine probation. So if an employee hasn't quite at the 6 month mark met the expected performance requirement, we would ordinarily extend that probation period for a further 3 months. That hasn't been removed and it's outright, but what we have set out is if a colleague is still not, isn't performing quite as we'd expect, but we think with some further support, and they could easily, that would be managed through our capability procedure moving forward. so that to support them to move the standards. So, like I say, really, the policy is to strengthen both manager accountability and emphasise the need for supporting colleagues early on when they start with us if there are any performance concerns, so that we can address those with plenty of time.
Thank you, Sophie. Councillor Jeremy Herron, you are the portfolio holder for this.
Thank you very much, Ken Chairman. Yes, the ever-changing and rapid changing of employment law. It is an exciting field to be in, isn't it? I congratulate our officers on keeping up with it and making sure that we stay current and on the right side. So that is brilliant. The report clearly sets out the changes and the changes that we have implemented within our organisation to accommodate them. It does make it very challenging. With only a 6-month window, as has been said, we very often have extended the probation in some cases. That now not really being an option, except under exceptional circumstances, has meant that really that probation period has put an awful lot more pressure on our management to ensure that they engage with new recruits and work through and ensure that they are the right fit for the job in what is an incredibly short timescale, I think, for both employer and employee. And I think it does make the whole thing a little bit more challenging. But we have the right tools to do it, and I'm sure HR will help anyone through that process. Thank you.
Does anybody else wish to comment? No. Then can I take you the recommendation to note again on page 45? Agreed? Agreed. Thank you. Item 7, bereaved partners paternity leave policy. We're going to go to Helena, Service Manager, Human Resources. Helena.
Thank you. Yes, back to the Employment Rights Act 2025. This is a new policy that's been brought in. It is a statutory right now from the Employment Rights Act, so we have obviously implemented that. It's not often that I say that we've written a policy that I hope we never have to use, but it is there, and it will support our staff should they be in that awful situation. There's not a great deal more I can say about it. It's there to support people when they need it the most. Like I say, I hope we never have to use that policy.
In full agreement. I hope we don't have to, but at least we have a tool should we need it.
We do indeed.
Okay.
Yes.
Councillor Jeremy Herron, comments?
Thank you, Chairman. As everyone has already said, a policy that I hope we never see coming out of the drawer and being instigated, but necessary just the same, and it does set out some quite important terms so that people, in a very difficult point in their life, have certainty, and that is quite a challenge to provide to people, that they know that they are going to be supported through that process. Yes, thank you for it, and I hope it stays in the drawer.
Does anybody else wish to comment? No, thank you. Then can I take you to the recommendation to note again, page 59. All agreed?
Agreed.
Thank you. Let's go to item 8, grievance policy. And again, we are going to go back to Helena. Helena.
Thank you. This really is a bit more of an update to our current grievance policy. Obviously, we have one in place already. We're just trying to make sure that it remains clear, fair and consistent for both the managers to look at and review, but also to support all our employees as well. We do have a number of grievances that come up throughout the year on all manner of things, and it's just really important that we have a really good, clear framework that everybody can look at and review. And we've also taken the opportunity this time round to make sure that we have really good delegation set up, the authority to act, which is at Appendix B, I think it is, on this report. So everybody is clear which, depending on the nature of the grievance, who it will be heard by at each stage, because there's normally 2 stages to a grievance procedure. If people aren't happy with the outcome from stage 1, they can then appeal and have it heard as a stage 2. So that's where we are with this, really. It is an updated procedure, just like I say, just to make sure that we're adhering to all the best practice.
Okay, lovely. Thank you. Councillor Jeremy Heron.
Thank you, Chairman. Again, a policy that I hope we don't use too often, but incredibly necessary. And the importance of grievance policy is twofold. The first one is that the clear policy sets out how that system works, and hopefully, by working that system properly, resolves the situation in a mutually acceptable way. And it is very important that hopefully that is the part that works well and is used more often. Obviously, if you can't come to a mutually acceptable agreement on this, then it obviously takes you through the further stages within a grievance and sets them out clearly. Very important that the organisation and staff alike are well aware of how the process runs and ensures that it runs as smoothly as what can happen, because when it's used in a difficult situation. Yeah. It's never used when everybody's happy and agreeing. No. This one comes out when they don't. Yeah. So it is vital that it is clear and precise and takes people through those stages. Thank you.
Anybody else wish to comment? No? Then can I take you to the recommendation to note again on page 71? All agreed?
Agreed.
Thank you. Agenda item 9, Health and Wellbeing Attendance Management Report. And we go back to Sophie Taylor for this. Sophie.
Thank you. Yes, so this report sets out how we support all our colleagues who are managing illness, which means they need to have some time away from work. So key things are, overall, it's set out that during 25-2026 period, our sickness absence did remain wholly stable to previous years, with an average of 3.46% of working time lost. That is an average of 9.03 days per full-time employee, but that is broadly in line also with national benchmarks and other public sector employers. The total absence rate has risen, however that's largely in line with our increased workforce, as our workforce has also risen in a similar vein. We saw sort of about a 13% increase in staffing, especially in waste services due to the waste service rollout. And also we've got even better at consistently recording absence and therefore supporting colleagues. So it doesn't represent necessarily a decline in attendance levels. Key causes of absence over that reporting period were, most common was musculoskeletal injuries, and we do have a large operational workforce where those are mainly driven. Some minor illnesses, and also our third highest reason was mental health and wellbeing for colleagues being off. In terms of how we support those staff, lots and lots of time and support goes into both from the HR team and managers in supporting our colleagues that are off in a fair and consistent way. We've got a really robust absent management framework that, like I say, is used heavily throughout the council to make sure that we're supporting all colleagues in a fair and appropriate way based on their own circumstances. We also spend lots of time supporting managers to make sure they've got the tools, the experience and the support from the HR team to effectively support those colleagues who are needing some time away from work, and we can get them back to work at the right time in the right way. We've expanded our wellbeing support. This includes using our occupational health services for advice. We regularly use phased returns and GP advice as well, reasonable adjustments to support people back along with our wellbeing initiatives. Moving forward, we're enhancing even more our data management in the HR team as well, so that we can provide that corporately across the council. Expanding our wellbeing interventions where we can by looking at our existing processes, and like I say, focusing as much as we can on external advice, occupational health, GP support, how we can then effectively get support our colleagues back to work in the right way at the right time for them and their health. Thank you.
Thank you, Sophie. Councillor Jeremy Heron for comment.
Thank you, Chairman. I think excellent report as always. The weather vane of our authority really does tell us a lot about our employees and how things are going. And it also helps us identify where there are areas of issues and that we can address. And I think in the past, and I'm sure going forward, we respond very well to them. I'm pleased to see it going forward. Always happier to see it drop rather than go up. But the slight rise is inevitable. You can't always go in the direction you want. So yes, a very good report detailing it. Nothing particularly that comes out that highlights any concerns. Obviously, our changing refuse collection might make a difference to this report as we come forward.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to comment? Councillor Alan O'Sullivan.
Thank you. I'm just noticing, if you look at item 14.15, on 14 it's got the sickness absence data including leavers, and then which has got a percentage of 3.99, but the graph underneath is absent. Doesn't have the levers in, it's just that, but it's confusing looking at the two next to each other because they're both on the bottom of the same page. So if you're looking at it quickly, you would think that's wrong. You think it should be 3.99.
I totally get your perspective there, and it's because how we've reported in the past hadn't included levers, so we wanted to make sure that we could sort of follow the figures through, but moving forward, that wouldn't be shown moving forward. So moving forward, the data to make sure we're providing a full picture does include levers. Hence, those two graphs for this year is whilst we change that reporting. So, but thank you. Yeah.
It's only when I've read it through a second time that I realised what it was doing. I was surprised that we were increasing numbers by 11% in a year, employees, in considering what the future of this council is. And I presume a lot of that is the waste services.
Yes, it is.
Thank you. Anybody else? No? Then let's take you to the recommendation, again to note, on page 92. Do you all agree? Thank you. Item 10, Corporate Health and Safety Quarter 4 report. We're now going to go over to Christopher Hopper, Corporate Health and Safety Manager. Christopher.
Good morning. First of all, I'd like to introduce myself to any committee members I may not have met yet as the new Corporate Interim Health and Safety Manager, having taken over from James Loring, who left earlier in the year. This report's a review of the significant work undertaken by the Health and Safety team in Quarter 4, 25-26, and includes a summary of the accidents and incident statistics for that quarter. As a snapshot of examples of work mentioned in the report, some of these include the team completed a health and safety audit of self-assessments, which was completed across the organisation. The 60-question audit was based on questions around HSE's Plan, Do, Check, Act method of compliance and monitoring. The outcomes from the self-audit are shown under point 5, table 1 of the report, and were generally extremely positive, which produced an average assessment score of 73% across the organisation. To build on the audit, it is requested that the implementation of a 5-year health and safety team audit framework described in Table 2 is approved, which has been prioritised following the self-assessment audit findings mentioned. Another task the health and safety team have been involved in was providing CDM regulation advice across a number of teams within the organisation to advise on the responsibilities of NFDC and to improve contractor assessment and competency checks during construction and refurbishment works. This has included aiding the Estates and Valuations team during the Ringwood Depot refurbishment works with relation to NFDC's obligations, and particularly ensuring principal designer, principal contractor responsibilities are met. The Health and Safety team has also been involved in delivering risk assessment training to the National Parks Authority, which has proved to be highly successful and resulted in further requests of training from NPA. I request that the committee reviews the findings from the accident incident report shown in Appendix 1, and I'll just give you the key headlines from that report now. First of all, I'm pleased to say that there's been no riddle incidents during this period. We had a total of 52 reports received in Q4 25-26, which is reduced from 88 reports submitted the previous Q4's financial year. So that's really positive. A total of 12 days were lost due to incidents and accidents at work in Q4, which is reduced from 35 days lost during the previous statistics of the previous year, which is a 65% reduction on the previous year. I have, however, confirmed that last year Q4 stats were particularly high due to a small number of employees being off work for comparatively long periods of time, which did affect the statistics the previous year. There's been 35 employee reports submitted regarding accidents or incidents, which is reduced from 67 in the previous year's quarter. So again, that's a good number. The highest reported cause for employee incidents and accidents was verbal abuse, and we received 7 of those, and I have to say that's a fairly consistent number across the year as well, these incidents of verbal abuse. So that is something to keep an eye on, although obviously it's a comparatively small number across the organisation, but 7's too many, which continues the general incidence of levels of abuse employees receive. Within the statistics, Waste and Recycling continue to submit the most accident incident reports, with 11 reports submitted during the Q4 period. That concludes my summary, and I'm pleased to take any questions.
Thank you, Christopher. This comes under me as leader of the council. I am really pleased to hear about the no riddle. I think that is brilliant achievement, and half the accidents really good. We always knew once we'd got all 3 waste systems in place that the accidents would drop, and this is just proving that that would happen. A very good, comprehensive report. Thank you, Christopher. Anyone got any other comments? Councillor Colm McCarthy.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Colm McCarthy from the Pennington Ward. First of all, welcome to the team.
Thank you.
I'm sure that you'll have a great time. There's a good team behind you, so I'm sure you'll do well. It is, like as I stated, as well as the Chair, it's good to see that the riddle reports have actually dropped as well. You mentioned there about verbal abuse, which I'm glad that you brought that up. I mean, I have seen, especially last week in Leamington, where the team were actually on the floor collecting the rubbish, and I did see firsthand the abuse that they were being given, which I thought was unacceptable, to be honest, from the local community. Because, you know, they're trying to do a job, but there was a lot of rubbish around the high street, to be honest, and it's actually having a knock-on effect. So I do believe that the team are actually up against it, and sometimes. It
will be interesting to see if that actually gets reported, because
this is my question.
Okay.
This is where I was getting to, really, because due to the fact that the abuse that they received that morning, I did feel that it was unacceptable. I knew the people in question that did give the abuse, so I did have a word with them on behalf of the workmen that were actually on the floor, on the ground floor. But again, it goes back to, I would like to know really, and I know it's a difficult one, but how many of these kind of reports are not reported to this council? Because, you know, when this actually continues, if we don't know something about it, how are we going to fix it?
I think that's a really interesting question, and I think sort of alluded to it just a second ago, but I do suspect we are vastly under-reporting, and I do think it would be beneficial to have a drive with all the teams and actually pressing to report these incidents within housing, within waste, on the front desk. You know, I think EMT, I was asked about the front desk, and I've not seen any reports of abuse from there. So I think it'd be really beneficial to drive that. Thank you for that question.
Yeah, thank you. And just one other question. You mentioned there as well about the staffing. I know that the depot where we are in Leamington, for example, on Marsh Lane, I have had a discussion with one of the employees there, and this goes back to the previous question, is that they have reported certain issues to their manager, and they feel that they're having a waste of time reporting these issues because they feel it's not been reported to the NFDC, which is a concern as well. Is that something that I could ask this council, if they could maybe review that and make sure that these are reported to the NFDC? and that the manager is reporting what they should be reporting?
Certainly, and you know, I think it'd be beneficial to look at what the reporting system is in place and how we can make that easier to access for people on the ground to, you know, report concerns. Clearly, there are processes in place, but you know, it looks like there's a lack of confidence with some people in how that gets passed on. So, yeah, again, that's something that we can.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Carl. Jeremy, sorry, Christopher, you'll take those actions forward, will you?
Yes.
Will you report back to us next time, please, on
Certainly,
the
yeah.
effectiveness? Thank you. Right, can I take you to the recommendations on page 109? We have 3 of them. 1, review the work undertaken by the health and safety team in the last quarter. Agreed?
Agreed.
2, acknowledge the implementation of a 5-year health and safety team audit framework as described under point 4. Agreed?
Agreed.
And review the findings from the Q4 accident incident report. Agreed? Thank you. Right, we are on to item 11, the work programme. This is just to note, has anyone got anything they would like added to it?
I can just let you know that there will be 2 policies in September because of the Employment Rights Act, so I'll talk to committee services and we'll get those identified rather than just having it as a generic
Thing.
in the
Okay,
programme.
lovely. Well, if you do have any items, can you please contact Helena? So, that only remains for me to say thank you to all attendants, and I declare this meeting closed. Thank you.